To begin with, I thought I would tell you credentials, right? You guys all have credentials, I don't. However, I've been working in my industry for 34 years. I started in 1989, working for my mom, and she bought a quick print franchise, and I did almost everything in that business at one time or another. I started with the decorations on the inside, putting up words around the thing, and did pricing and accounting and running the copiers and customer service. Of course, all the artwork. I even ran the press for 6 months. So there's not a lot in that arena that I don't know. So then I moved to a multi-million-dollar print shop that had, I think, 8 presses. There are 2 web presses, those are really big, they do newspapers, that kind of thing. 4 color presses that print 2 sides, they had a press that printed 2 sides at the same time, it was really exciting. And then little tiny duplicators. In that job, I spent most of my time being the assistant production manager, which means that I managed all those people and all those processes to get the jobs that came in the front door, out the back door, on time. And then I moved to the Central Valley. And when I moved to the Central Valley, I won't say they demoted me, but I was really delighted to go from being the assistant production manager to the night shift manager of the pre-press department, because that's where I really wanted to be, because I like playing with electronic graphics. And then I got a job here, because quite frankly, have you ever commuted to the Bay Area from here? It kind of sucks. And when I got hired here, what they did not tell me was that they had their 3 graphic people, they only had 3, quit within a 6-month period, and when I got hired on, they had nobody. I ran the department by myself, so I did 3 people's work. To be honest, I enjoyed that job a lot, until I didn't have it. When I lost that job, it was February of 2011, and I was over 50, and I was like, who's gonna hire me? So what I didn't tell you is that back in 1996, I started my own graphic design business on the side, right? Everybody's got a side gig, or maybe not everybody, but an awful lot of people have a side gig. This was mine, and it was still running. So I made my side gig my main gig, and from there, here I am. So while I don't have, as I said, credentials, I have a lot of experience. I've worked with, I don't even know how many different printing processes. And most people think that printing is you hit the print button and there you go. It's not that easy. Okay, so that's me, that's what I do. A huge part of what I do is actually research. I started doing presentations and speaking in front of groups 10 years ago, something like that. So I keep having people ask me to speak about subjects that, well, I do know them, but I don't have a presentation. Like today, it's like, how would you like to do a presentation on presentations? I'm like, okay. So that's really, I'm sure you guys saw the title of this presentation. The whole thing is WIFM. What's in it for me? And does anyone in the room have any idea what that means and why you care?
Are we talking about what's in it for me, the speaker, or what's in it for me, the attendee?
What's in it for me, period. Why does it matter?
How you make connections and relationships. People get to know who you are, find commonalities.
Right. The reason why you care about what's in it for me is that, unbeknownst to most people, because we don't think about it, but if you do think about it, you'll discover that I am actually right. Every single person judges every single thing, right? Everything that comes across your view, your touch, whatever, you judge it all for one reason or another. You may not think about it, it may not occur to you, whatever the result was, until sometime later, for some other reason. Who knows? And that's where what's in it for me is. Because you look at everything as from the perspective of, why do I care, right? If somebody's droning on about something you don't care about, that's exactly what happens. It's like you get bored and you're like, it doesn't relate to me. So that's why we start with, what's in it for me? From the perspective of a business owner or a business person, whether or not you own the business, it's about how you present yourself, your business, and your products and services. Almost everyone in the small business arena presents their stuff as a laundry list of the things they do. I know, you guys all sat here and listened to each other. Wonderful laundry lists of all the wonderful things that you do, and it's wrong. Not that it's wrong that you have it, not that it's wrong that you talk about it. It's wrong from a marketing perspective. If you want to get response, you have to start from what's in it for me, for them. Why do they care? And the easy way to do that is to look at why your business exists. Every single person in business exists as a business to solve problems. So 100% of your marketing, and by the way, presentations are marketing, needs to be teaching about, talking about, and helping people understand the problems that you solve. Start with the problem. Enroll the people in your audience in the problem. Help them understand that they do, in fact, have that problem. Now, in some cases, you've got overarching, there's this big thing that we talk about, and it's got all these little things, right? And that's fine. Start with the big thing. That's the big thing, because you really need to focus on one thing at a time, just one. Because if you don't, you're confusing your audience. And once you confuse your audience, you've lost them. You know, the whole point of getting in front of people is to see if you can help them solve their problem, whatever that is.
I'm gonna really support you on that, because what I notice is they don't really care about the laundry list.
Mm-mm.
They really don't.
Mm-mm.
And you could have a brochure with your laundry list, but they just want to know how you can help them. It would just narrow it down so much better.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go through the laundry list.
And if you start with the problem, you have a much better chance of enrolling them in the solution.
I just got so many ideas right now.
By the
Don't you
way,
hate that?
ask questions.
You're
If
gonna
they
get
happen to
annoyed.
come up, or comments, whatever, this is an open discussion. So from a presentation perspective, the first thing you have to do when you're preparing your presentation is understand your purpose. Why are you doing this? What are you going to teach? A presentation should be almost all teaching with a little bit of sales at the end. But it's teaching, it's getting out there and through pictures, words, whatever you have at your disposal to help the audience understand what the problem is so that they get enrolled. When they're enrolled in what your problem is, they lean in. What, I want to hear what you have to say, because oh my God, right? If it's not a bad problem, it's why are we doing it, right? So the first task is to understand, this is before you write anything, what your purpose is. What are you trying to teach? And what do you want as an outcome? Right? So what are you gonna want, what are you gonna ask them to do at the very end? Start with, what are you teaching? And then work on how to write that beginning, that problem out in a way that helps the audience get attracted to, oh, right? The light bulb needs to go off. We all have a light bulb, right? So that's the beginning. The middle is more of the same teaching, right? Because most of what you're going to teach is getting them to enroll, and then once you get them to enroll in the problem, now you're going to talk about the solution, not your solution, but the solution, right? So if digestion is the problem, right? Now you talk about all the bits and pieces that go into the solution. And to be very honest, the best way to do that is to make it as complicated as you can. Make it complicated, make it take a lot of effort, a lot of time. Because they need the solution, you're telling them how to do it themselves. When they do it themselves, it's difficult. And then you introduce your products, your services, and you say, okay, so yes, you can do it yourself, but if you want to do it faster, easier, better, I have these solutions, give them pricing, whatever, and then at the very end, make an offer. If you can't, if you're selling someone else's product and you can't reduce the prices, the price is what the price is, that offer should include you. What are you going to add to the bundle to get people to go, oh God, I need that so bad, right? That's really the thing. And as far as, by the way, the you thing, I keep running into people who are selling other people's stuff. So in a multi-level marketing world, there are a lot of them. People tend to pay the company for the privilege of selling their stuff, right? You may not pay them a lot, but you pay them something to sell their stuff. And then you go and you do a presentation, whether it's to one person or a room, and you get people convinced, ooh, yeah, I have that problem. Ooh, yeah, I need what you have, and oh, damn, I don't have any money. Or I need my husband's permission, or any number of excuses why they're not buying today. And you're really good at what you do, so you take their number and name and you call them on a regular basis, and they keep pushing you out and pushing you out and pushing. And so you've got them on a schedule. It's no big deal, right? Following up, you're doing your thing. And somewhere between this call and the one in the future, something in their life changes, whether it's a life change or a money change or something. Something changes and suddenly your thing went to the top of their list. And then the next thing you know, they run into somebody else who sells that product from that company. And they're all over it, like, yeah, I gotta have it right now. And the person that sells them to them thinks, wow, that was a really easy sale. Yeah, you've been nurturing that sale for 6 months, 9 months, a year. It wasn't an easy sale for you, and you lost sale. Do you know why? Because you sold the company and the product. You sold these things over here. Sell you. Sell you as the solution. That's where the real future is in being the answer. It really makes a huge difference, because when you are the answer, when they go, I know I'm going to have to do this with Ginger, and they will always know they have to do it with Ginger. When they're ready, they'll call Ginger. They're not going to talk to somebody else, because you're the answer. That's why it's so important to brand yourself. Yes, I know it comes back to branding, but I can't help it. Everything in your business comes back to branding. Branding is who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. It's about all those passions that you bring to the table. And all of it goes together to build the brand that you're putting forth. Which isn't exactly part of presentation, but at any rate, that's about it. That's how you put together a presentation. It's just more about selling the problem and the solution, and then making an offer. Yes.
In the spiritual community,
Mm-hmm.
we're presented with an additional challenge of like people thinking you might be doing this service just for money, right? So they might check out of you in general, thinking you're trying to sort of, did they really want to help me or do they just want my money, right? So it's a little challenging at times. I think it's a little bit different with other services, but understanding, and I have this discussion when I'm teaching people Reiki, that there's no such thing as competition because they're coming to you, right? They want a piece of you, right? And you are the product. But now, how do you say, then this amount without feeling guilty, right? Because that sometimes can be a challenge for people to collect.
If you go from talking to people about what you do, instead move over here and talk about the problem that you solve. The more urgent you can make that problem feel, the more money you can charge. Because think about yourself, right? If there was something going on in you that was like driving you crazy and you didn't know what to do, and somebody came along and said, I have the solution for that, and they tell you it in a way that lets you really believe they have the solution, what would you pay them for that solution? Correct. The money doesn't matter. Every day, all over the world, people find money they didn't know they had to solve problems that are driving them insane.
And we don't get to be the decider
No.
if they can afford it or not.
Correct.
That's up to them to decide,
Right.
is this worth that investment for me?
Mm-hmm. Which is why Michelle calls the $5 an investment.
Investment, right?
It's not a fee.
Well, that's
it's an
huge,
investment.
right? I switched my class fee to tuition
Okay.
because it feels more educational
Right.
and an investment on your learning. So a few key words
Yes.
can change it.
Language is so important. In fact, when you're doing a presentation, speaking of language, one of the things that we all run into is that our industry has its own language. When you are doing a presentation, it's really critical not to use the language that you know so well. And if it's important, really truly important for them to know that language, teach it. Don't expect them to know. Be kind and help them, because that's all it's about, is helping other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, even how I've noticed that my way of talking to myself is there's like, before I'd be like, I don't have no time, like, no, that's not my priority list. It's like,
Right.
I'm not making time for that. It's
Right.
not a priority.
Right.
I don't say anymore, I don't have time for that. I don't say that anymore. No, I have time, it's just not a priority.
Or I say it's not in my budget
I'm
right
responsible
now.
for what I put as a priority. or
But
something.
again, what you're doing in doing both of that is you're taking responsibility for what you can, right? Every time we take responsibility for our words and our actions, we have the power to change it. When you take a step back and say it's somebody else's fault, when you blame anyone else, you've given away your power to fix it. So don't ever do that. Own it. and own the space. You know, when you're doing presentations, have fun with it.
And I think another thing with the money that someone once taught me and has been pretty effective for me is to think of it not as a piece of paper, but rather as an energy exchange. So your money is energy and their commitment of money is energy. So if they say something like, well, I don't know, that's kind of expensive, or I don't have that much money, then I always like to say, well, that's my level of commitment to you and your success. This is me stepping up and being there and available for you, and that's my level of commitment. Where is your commitment for yourself? What
Yeah.
level is that at?
Right.
And
Because this is my level.
it's true. I'll tell people, I say, you can give Reiki away all day long, but will they actually appreciate it?
No.
That's so
You can
true.
give them
Right.
everything, but they're not really appreciating it.
Well,
Because there's no commitment.
There's no commitment.
there's no
Yeah.
skin in the
There,
game.
yeah, I'd be paying for my massage today for Saturday because I want that girl to show up. That's my level of commitment, right?
Right.
And so it's huge
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I think where I fail is getting people. I start with my laundry list, and I just don't need to do that. I'm gonna go with, here's the problems that arise, and here's how I can make it better, and here's the ways I can make it better.
One problem at a
One problem at a
And
time.
if necessary, when you have that laundry list
Yeah.
and you don't know what it is that they're needing, don't give them any of it.
Yeah.
When they come in, ask them questions.
Yeah.
Find out, what is it that you're in here looking for? How can I help
Yeah.
you? And let them lead you. And then you can find the solutions because they're telling you
Yeah.
what the real problems are instead of you trying to guess.
If they came to me and they found me, I say, if I had a magic wand, what would you want?
There
And
you
so
go.
it's a great opener.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
They want a purple regal cape like Kim or Sue. Because I want one of those. The more I look at those clips, I'm like, damn, that's what it's
You're
for.
thinking outlandish.
It's over 20 years old.
And you wear it like you
It's
own
25
it.
years
Okay.
Yeah, she loves it.
It's part of my branding. Okay, so there's business branding and then there's personal branding. My personal branding is a very unique name. I realize I'm not the only Kim or Sue in the country, but I think I'm the only one in town. You know, and the bright red hair is always going to stay bright red, and then this. I love that.
Or is it just one big circle?
Pardon? Yes, it's one big circle. It's one,
It's not just
no
one.
seams, just the edges.
That's a big piece of it.
I know, and it's a sweatshirt.
It's a car
So it's
blankie.
very soft.
I have a question.
Yes,
Should I shut this off?
if you like. It's Jan that you're going to show it to.
Say hi, Jan. Hi, Jan. Hi, Jan. Hi, Jan. Hi, Jan. Hey. There you go. All right.